sees what's going on, sees the spire, so he knows that mutas are on the way. As we do have two more gateways getting built, as well as a Robo Bay here by aTnSocke, as he does now start a Stargate. So we definitely are going to see probably some Phoenixes on the way for some scouting purposes and to pick off some Overlords, especially to disrupt this creep pathway there. As we do look like aTnSocke is looking to push in now against these handful of roaches and zerglings as they are attacking the rock. Great time to attack as Kuba was not paying attention there for a couple seconds, lost a couple zerglings. As aTnSocke is trying to push in there now, but no, the zerglings are going to get the surround as he is great force field placement once again by aTnSocke as he is able to split up that army and pick off those bunch of those zerglings there. He's doing some great force field placements there. There's definitely great use of those sentries. As it looks like Kuba is going to look back on killing those rocks as we're probably going to see another hatchery momentarily here. They pick off his third base. As aTnSocke is planning to do the same, he is also looking to take over his third base as we do have a massive amount of Zerglings here as Metabolic Boost did finish getting pushed out by Kuba as he's looking to kill that probe before that Nexus goes down, and I think he's going to be able to do it. Yes, he is going to be able to prevent that probe from building that Nexus. Now, Immortal did just finish for aTnSocke, so he definitely has another Immortal on the field. That's a couple Immortals. That's pretty good, especially against these roaches here. Um, Now, we do have an infestation pit on the way by Kuba, so we're definitely going to see some infestors on the field, most likely for the fungal growth. Which is actually I don't know. I don't really like using fungal growth against Protoss unless it's on the mineral line, just because there's so many other things you can do against Protoss. But I mean, it's better to have it. Might as well, especially if you get the burrow and come in behind mineral line or behind the army, throw down a bunch of infested Terrans and flank them from behind as your main army attacks from the front. So we do have Kuba is now getting his third base on the way. He's definitely looking to keep an economic advantage here, as you kind of do with Zerg. You have to kind of stay one step ahead of your opponent, or else you can get overrun and behind and everything, macro and I mean everything. As we do have Tier 1 ground armor is now on the way for aTnSocke, as well as a couple Phoenixes are about to finish, as he does have a bunch already on the field. Now we do have 4 mutas just about to finish for Kuba, as well as a hive, as he is taking right into hive, probably for a greater spire, so we can get massive air techs, as he is now getting tier 2 melee attack, as he is now pushing in with these phoenixes, and he's going to be able to do a bunch of damage, as he is going to be able to pick off a bunch of these overlords, and he's going to be able to lift up that queen, and that's a great lift up there, as he is going to be able to kill that queen with those phoenixes. Then he's going to finish off this muta there, and he's just going to be able to have free reign on these overlords, which is what he needs, as he's just going to straight up supply block Cuba here, as we do only have a few corruptors are on the field. It's definitely not enough corruptors to deal with these handful of phoenixes here, but the damage is done. aTnSocke flew in there, did some harass, did some scouting, sees what's going on. Now Cuba is most likely going to mass more corruptors, as he saw that big bundle of Phoenix is on the field, as observer here by aTnSocke is still in place, so he knows exactly what's going on in his opponent's base. Now we do have tier 2 ground armor is about halfway researched now, as the tier 2 melee attacks are just about almost done as well. Now aTnSocke is picking off these drones at this third base here of Cuba, as Cuba is now moving on in those corruptors to defend against this, but the damage is done as aTnSocke was able to kill a handful of drones there, as that second extractor just finishes. Now we do have an Ultralisk Cavern on the way for Cuba. Kind of surprised he's getting an Ultralisk Cavern, but as we do have another push coming out here from aTnSocke, as there's a bunch of Zerglings and Roaches, he should be able to defend against this push here by aTnSocke momentarily, as he does have enough corruptors as well to deal with a bunch of these. These are a ton of Phoenixes here, as he's just flying in and picking off those overlords left and right, as Cuba is now supply blocked 112 over 110. As the Ultralisk Cavern does finish, we should be seeing some Ultralisk queued up any moment now. As the tier, wow, I want to say something. Tier techs, whatever you want to call them, the tech for the ground units for Cuba. I don't even know why I had a hard time saying that. Are just about finishing, as he is now getting the plating upgrade as well for his Ultralisk, as he does have two Ultilis queued up. Now we do have a Colossus on the way, as well as extended Thermal Lance for Saki, and also a Twilight Council. So we're definitely going to see some, probably the charge legs upgrade for the Zealots, and then maybe he'll get Blink. But I've been seeing a lot of Protoss players don't even bother get Blink; they just get charge legs, and that's it. But we are going to see some sort of tech out of there, as that Colossus is a great play there by Saki, as it's going to be able to fry these Zerglings to nothing. But there are a good amount of Corruptors on the field still to deal with those Colossus, so he's definitely going to have to mass at least 4 of them to get anywhere, as those Corruptors can just fly in and take them out pretty easily, as we do have 3 more Corruptors getting built, as well as another Ultras on the way here for Kuba, as Saki was able to take that third base a few minutes ago, as he does have it pretty well defended. Definitely has a good little wall off here, making this a little path for any enemy units having to get by. The Colossus is just about finished for Saki, as it just finishes, as he is now teching up to Tier 2 ground weapons, as he is now getting a Dark Shrine too. Definitely great choice of units there. Now, I mean, he's got everything. He's got almost every unit you can think of except for Void Razor here. I mean, he's got a great variety. He's got the Colossus for the mass Zerglings. He's got a ton of Stalkers for range support. And he's also got a bunch of Sentries for force fields. So he's going to be able to separate this army and pick them off, as these Ultras are definitely everything. All Cuba's forces are forced to pull back to the choke of his main, as Saki does push up there, fry for a few more units, but realizes it's too big of an army to do anything at the moment. Now we do have a pretty ballsy move here by Kuba, looking to take over this high yield by Saki's base, but Saki realizes it, and he's putting down some photon cannons, as well as pylons and warping some units, as now we do have Saki is pushing into the third base of Kuba, almost able to kill that hatchery with only 3 health left on the hatchery, as now we have an epic war here, but force field placement there by Saki was able to prevent those Ultras for a few seconds, as they were able to stop over and canceling those force fields, as they are now just strolling in here and just crush Saki's army in half. But he still has a great handful of units here. He's got those Zealots are I don't think he realized what was happening there, as these Corruptors are now having free reign on these Colossus, and he should be able to pick off both of these Colossus, as Saki is not even going to bother coming out with his Stalkers to defend against them, as he did just lose. He lost both Colossus there, which was poor choice by Saki, as he just decided to try microing them back to his base and not even bother picking off those Corruptors to defend against them. Now, we did have Saki was trying to put down some pylons to warp in some units at the high yield by Kuba, but Kuba was able to defend against that and kill those pylons before anything's warped in. Now, we do have a Dark Templar is getting pushed out here to Kuba's base, so he's definitely going to be able to pick off. He's going to be able to finish that hatchery. And there it goes. That hatchery just dies in one hit, as now all these drones are forced to long-distance mine and mine both minerals and gas, as he does now transfer a bunch of drones there from his main to his high yield. As we have Kuba now, I don't know what he's doing here. He's massing all these drones over here, just letting this Dark Templar freaking pick them off one by one. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's not mining anything from the high yield, as the Dark Templar is just picking them off one by one. Now we do have Blink just about halfway researched for Saki, as well as Tier 2 ground armor on the way for him. And he is also getting 2 more Colossus on the field, as he is now building a pretty good army size here, as he is warping a bunch of Zealots, as he... Nope, he doesn't have charge yet, which I'm kind of surprised. Usually you'd want to get charge legs if you're going to get a bunch of Zealots like that, especially against these Ultras. Just charge in there and just freaking destroy them. Now we do have an advanced Overseer here on the ground by Kuba to be able to spot that Dark Templar, which he was able to do, and he managed to pick him off. Now we do have a couple of Void Rays here by Saki, as he looked like he was trying to be able to do some damage, but he didn't. He decided to pull it back to his base for whatever reason. As we do have a Dark Templar now free reigning in Cuba's base, and Cuba was able to kill it before it did any type of damage. Now we do have an Overseer just get completely demolished by that army of Saki. So Cuba does realize what the army size composition is for aTnSocke, and there's going to be a pretty epic battle here. Massive Ultralisk there as aTnSocke is forced to put down some force fields, but those Ultralisks just run right over those force fields, not doing anything as aTnSocke is still trying to pull back into the small choke of his base in order to defend against this massive attack here by Kuba, as those force fields aren't doing anything with those Ultralisks as they're just pounding over. We also got a bunch of Corruptors on the field here, so those Void Rays are going to get destroyed. Now these Ultras are moving right into that third base of aTnSocke, and they're going to have free reign on that base. aTnSocke is in trouble as he only has a handful of units to deal with all these Ultralisks. I don't think he's going to be able to do it as all his probes just get destroyed. Actually they're microed over to the top, and now they're going to get all destroyed as we do have a push coming in from aTnSocke from behind, trying to pick off all these Ultralisks, as the Ultralisks do manage to kill that Nexus at that third base. And these probes, I'm surprised the Ultralisks are not as... wow, aTnSocke is just moving these probes like crazy, preventing them from getting destroyed, as he does come flank them from behind and manage to pick off the rest of those Ultralisks. That was definitely a great play there by Kuba, just splitting up his army and decided not to fight here, as we do have a bunch of Zerglings are going to be able to probably pick off this, and nope, he's not going to be able to pick off that Nexus in time, or is he? No, he is not, as that Nexus has 91 health left. But it was definitely a great move there by Kuba. He decided not to bother fighting in this small choke, decided to take those units, split them up, and do what he can on the third base, and the damage is done as all these probes are forced to long distance mine, as two more Ultras push into aTnSocke's base, and Kuba, I don't even realize he knows that these Ultras aren't even doing anything. They're just kind of running around, as they are just going to straight up die before doing anything. Now we do have a flank here by a bunch of Zerglings are going to be able to get the surround on these Stalkers, as these Stalkers are now dead, and these probes are going to get picked off one by one as these Zerglings are just surrounding everything. As we do have a freaking all those drones there are long distance mining at the high yield for Kuba, as those Void Rays here were able to destroy the hatchery, but there's so much action going on, I didn't even realize that. Now we did have aTnSocke did manage to lose his Nexus here by those Ultralisks, but he was able to kill them off, and now he is going to be able to rebuild that Nexus there, as he is able to rebuild that Nexus also at that third base. So we have a bunch of action going on here, just constant battle from both players as they just keep building units and sending them in. It looks like Kuba is just going to stick with the mass Ultralisks and Speedlings on the field, as it does seem to be working for him at the moment. Now I do have a huge push here from aTnSocke, as he was managed to kill that Queen, and he does spot all those drones long distance mining, so he is going to be able to fry these left and right and have free reign on those units. As that Corruptor just got destroyed. So aTnSocke is looking to push into this base here from Kuba, and he's slowly but surely going to be able to put in here, as all these drones are still long distance mining as that hatchery is building, and it is just about done, as it's about 3/4 of the way done. Do have some more force field placement here by Kuba, but the Ultras just stomp right over them. So aTnSocke should be able to defend against this fairly well, as he is, and now forces Kuba to pull off all his drones back into his natural base, as this base just gets fried. I think this could be good game here for Kuba. He's in trouble. He only has one base mining at the moment. That high yield did just finish, but there's no drones mining there at the moment. Let's go to unit composition here. There's only 27 Zerglings. Yeah, so Kuba only has a handful of units right now, and he needs to do something fast, as he is looking to make a move with all these Zerglings into this base of aTnSocke that he already destroyed once, and we also have aTnSocke is going to that high yield, killing that hatchery so it prevent it from mining anymore. So we got dual attacks from both teams here, but aTnSocke is going to be able to defend against that with that Colossus and handful of Zealots that he has there. As Kuba does good game and leaves, as he was in trouble. He wouldn't be able to keep up with that, as the only base he had mining right now was his natural. I mean, look at all those drones, 2 pages worth of drones mining just out one base. So definitely a great match there between both these players. And there it goes. aTnSocke wins another match, and I'll see you all next time.